This is part of a series of supplemental, self-guided presentations that you can view at your leisure to get more information about topics of interest to you. My name is Jeffrey White, and I am a clinical psychologist at the Durham VA Medical Center. In this presentation, we are going to talk about anger and helping you, as a caregiver, better understand and manage your veteran loved one's anger. There are three main objectives for this presentation. First, it is helpful to understand what anger is and what may be causing anger in your veteran loved one. Second, in order to manage anger, it is important to learn to recognize the early warning signs for anger. Finally, this presentation will assist in developing strategies and tools to help your veteran manage anger more effectively. What is anger? Anger is an emotion, a feeling. It is different from other experiences that we have, such as thoughts, physical sensations, or behaviors and actions. In other words, anger is not something that you do. Rather, it is something that you feel. Anger is an intense emotional response or a feeling of displeasure. When we get angry, our bodies typically react in a way to prepare us for a fight or to protect us from perceived danger. This physical reaction may include increased heart rate, muscle tension, changes to our breathing, and increased cognitive focus, also known as tunnel vision. Not all anger is the same. We can feel mild anger, such as annoyed or irritated. We can also feel very intense anger, such as furious or enraged. The level of intensity changes depending on the situation, our interactions with those around us, as well as our past experiences in managing anger. Why do people get angry? Anger can be triggered by a number of different things. One of the most common is believing that someone, either themselves or someone else, is being treated poorly. This can occur when they think that they are being threatened, or when they see a potential threat to someone else. Feeling disrespected and experiencing criticism are also common triggers. Situations where you need to protect yourself, or situations where you think you were wronged or mistreated, can also lead to anger. Finally, situations where you believe that someone has trespassed against you, perhaps by getting in your space, costing you money, wasting your time, etc. In addition to the common reasons for getting angry, there are a number of triggers that are specific to family or caregiving situations that can also lead to anger. First, certain medical conditions can directly lead to anger. Depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions are marked by increased irritability and agitation. Some medical conditions, or the medications used to treat them, can exacerbate anger and other strong emotions as well. Second, certain medical and physical limitations can lead one to feel useless or vulnerable. Both of these can lead to frustration and anger. For example, if a person is used to being fully independent and caring for themselves, they may express more anger due to the frustration of no longer being able to do these things. Finally, a family member who is used to being the breadwinner or managing tasks around the home can experience anger and frustration at the new role of depending or relying on someone else for these needs. In all of these situations, it can be very difficult for a caregiver, since you likely won't know whether your loved one is angry with you, or angry at themselves, or angry at their limitations. Is anger the problem? Based on what we have covered so far, you might think that the goal should be to eliminate anger, since that seems to be causing the problems. However, in most cases, anger is not the problem. Rather, it is when anger is communicated poorly, or when anger leads to aggressive, violent, or disrespectful actions, that problems occur. Anger can actually be helpful. Although anger is often intense, unpleasant, and at times scary, there are a number of reasons why we do not want to eliminate this emotion. Anger can be helpful. It is a tool that alerts us to problems or potential dangers. Anger often motivates and energizes us to take action. It communicates to others that they need to back off, or that something is particularly important to them. It can also serve as a way to connect with others who share in our feelings of anger. As you can see, anger is very important and often useful. It is not the anger itself that causes problems in relationships. Instead, the way we express our anger can be the source of many problems. Feeling angry is an emotional state. This happens in our heads and in our own hearts. This is how we feel in response to a certain situation. Expressing anger is an action. This is how we act and what we do in response to our feelings. It can take the form of yelling, of pounding fists, of breaking things, or slamming doors. Generally speaking, feeling angry is not what gets us or our veteran loved ones into trouble. Expressing anger, on the other hand, can be tricky and will often cause problems. Anger can be expressed in a number of ways. Some of them are functional, as in they get the point across without hurting someone else physically or emotionally. Anger can also be expressed in a number of dysfunctional or harmful ways. Hostility and aggression, violence, abusive language, all of these can prevent the point from coming across and interfere with the angry person being heard and understood. They can also hurt those that are trying hard to care for them. Some common ways that anger is expressed include getting loud or yelling, using a hostile tone of voice or aggressive body language, using rude, abusive, or threatening language, getting violent or aggressive, breaking things, hitting people, slamming doors, or even being quiet and withdrawn. You might be asking yourself, if expressing anger in these ways hurts those around them, why does my veteran loved one, or maybe even, why do I, express anger in such ways? There are a number of possible reasons. Expressing anger in violent or aggressive ways can make one feel safer. It may even deter someone from harming them. Many of our veterans have had experiences while in the military which have led them to believe that the only way to be safe is to be aggressive or angry. That is hard to let go of once one separates from the military and is no longer in that same level of danger. Anger can cover up other emotions, such as feeling weak, embarrassed, or guilty. Your veteran loved one may act angry and aggressive to cover up these uncomfortable and often vulnerable feelings. As well, if your loved one has a physical limitation or injury, they may be feeling extremely unsafe or unable to defend themselves in certain situations. Sometimes acting angry and aggressive works. If they yell and pound their fist to get their needs met and it works, they are more likely to use that strategy in the future. Physically yelling, punching a wall, slamming a door, breaking a bottle, all of these release pent-up energy in the body that emotional reactions can create. Even though it may be scary, even though it may go beyond their own control, that release of energy can feel good in the moment. Finally, aggressive behavior may be the only way that your veteran loved one knows. As the old saying goes, if all you have is a hammer, you start to treat everything like a nail. It may be that your veteran loved one does not have other tools or strategies to deal with his or her emotions other than expressing their anger aggressively. It may be worth talking with your loved one about requesting help from their provider about this observation, if you feel safe enough to do so. As a caregiver, it is impossible to expect yourself to prevent your veteran loved one from ever getting angry. It is not your responsibility to make sure that his or her life goes smoothly with no challenges or problems to overcome. However, you can help your veteran be successful in his or her decision to try to manage this anger better and reduce aggressive actions associated with this emotion. First, you can reduce common triggers for anger. If driving is a common source of anger and frustration for your veteran loved one, perhaps offer to drive. You may even suggest traveling a different route or at a different time of day to reduce traffic and create a scenic atmosphere. Perhaps a particular kind of music or an audiobook can ease your veteran's tension while driving. You can help your veteran recognize when he or she has handled a challenging situation well. Wow, the grocery store was crowded, but together we got in and out of there pretty quickly. You can offer reassurance or comfort during a challenging time. I know we are running late, but I called ahead and they know we are stuck in traffic. They said they'll hold our reservation. It's going to be just fine. As a caregiver, you can help the veteran learn tools or strategies to express angry feelings more effectively. If it is safe for you to do so, encourage the use of words rather than actions. I heard the door slam. Is something wrong? Or, you're very quiet tonight. Did something happen? You may also try acknowledging the veteran's mood state. You seem frustrated by all this waiting at the doctor's office. I'm frustrated too. Perhaps I can go up to the window and ask how much longer the wait might be. You can, of course, model how you express your anger, which may help the veteran learn new skills. I am so irritated that the neighbor parked in front of our mailbox. I'm going to have a cool drink, take a walk around the block, and relax a bit. Then I'm going to go next door and ask him to please move his car. As a caregiver, you may already recognize the telltale signs that your veteran loved one is getting angry. Some common signs a person is getting angry include a shortness to their speech or tone. They may get louder or interrupt. You might hear exasperated or frustrated sighs, or they may roll their eyes. When you start to see some of these behaviors, or perhaps some that are unique to your veteran loved one, it is time to take action. When you start to notice a change in his or her body language, tone of voice, words, or actions, intervene. Don't wait until your veteran is at a 10 on a 1 to 10 scale. Intervene early when you first start to notice. Check in with your veteran. If it is safe for you to do so, ask them, "How are you?" or "What's going on?" Perhaps they are upset about the time they have been waiting to see the doctor. Maybe the traffic is getting to them. Maybe at this early stage you can intervene with some strategies. "Why don't I go up to the receptionist and see what's delaying the doctor? Would you like to go to the vending machine and get a cold drink? I'll listen for the nurse to call us." Or, "Why don't we pull off into that coffee shop and take a break? Would you like me to drive for a while?" It is a lot easier to help a veteran loved one access his or her tools for coping if they are at a 3 or a 4 on that 10-point scale than it is to help them cope when they are at a 9 or even a 10. As the old saying goes, it is easier to blow out a match than it is to put out a forest fire. It is important to remember that managing the symptoms of the anger flare-up does not solve the problem or necessarily address the root cause of the anger. Once the aggression has settled down and things are calm, it is important to have a conversation with your veteran loved one about why he or she became so angry in that situation. This can only happen once the veteran has calmed, once the trigger for the anger has been removed, and if it is safe for you to do so. Let's talk about some strategies that may help in communicating with your veteran loved one about his or her anger. Distract. This involves shifting focus to a preferred topic or interest. "Oh, listen, the Beatles. I remember how much you loved the song." You can also shift focus to some aspect of the situation that you have control over. "Well, it looks like there's an accident ahead on the freeway. Why don't we listen to an audiobook to pass the time?" Distance. Help your veteran distance himself from the triggers, whether it is a person or a situation. The ultimate goal is to stay safe. If you can give your veteran loved one some space to safely cool down, then do so. If you are the target of the veteran's anger, reduce your eye contact and take a few steps back. Perhaps even leave the room for a while. Then, try to focus on the task at hand. You can also suggest that you both take a break from the topic at hand. Make sure, however, that you identify a plan for coming back. "It seems like emotions are running hot. Why don't we both take a quick break and get a cold drink and cool off? Then let's meet back here in the living room in 30 minutes and we can discuss this matter a little more calmly." Other emotions. A lot of times, our veteran loved ones are experiencing other emotions in addition to anger. Sometimes they are experiencing other emotions that they are labeling as anger. "It sounds like you're worried we're going to be late for the appointment. Are you disappointed that Jim can't help with the car in the morning?" In cases like this, worried and disappointment might be misinterpreted as anger. It may be helpful as well to try and generate other competing or positive feelings. "It will be all right. I'm sure the doctor understands that folks get caught in traffic. I'll call and let the clinic know that we are running late." Or, "Phew, that guy passed us real fast and kind of close. I bet he sure needs to use the bathroom." Understand. In situations of mild anger, show or demonstrate an understanding of the veteran's feelings. This does not mean that you agree. It simply means that you are hearing the veteran and understand their feelings or point of view. "I get that you're angry. What else is going on?" You might find that the use of supportive questions can help to understand the reason. "Are you angry with me? What are you angry about?" You can also try to understand the behavior or goal of being angry. What would you like to be different? It can be challenging, but try not to use critical questions such as, "Why do you always do this?" or "What's wrong with you?" Focus on what is going on and what is needed more than why it is happening. Oftentimes, we are tempted to address the problem or the behavior before our angry loved one has calmed down. It is important to wait until your veteran has calmed down, the threat or situation that triggered the anger has resolved, and then, and only then, Go back and address the original problem if you feel it is safe to do so. First, try to identify the problem. It seemed like you were really angry at the doctor's office. Why did you get angry? Or, what happened at the store that got you so mad? Then, brainstorm with your veteran loved one as to how you can, together, prevent anger from taking control in the future. How can we prepare for the long days at the VA? Or, how can we deal with the crowds at the grocery store? Together, perhaps you can come up with a couple of strategies or ideas to help cope with challenging situations. Then, test them out and see how it goes. Talk about how it went after the fact. Did one of these strategies help? Was something not so effective? Discuss and make changes if needed. Next, you might want to address any inappropriate or aggressive behaviors, again, if you feel it is safe to do so. You might start with asking your veteran whether his or her actions accomplished the goal. How effective was their aggressive behavior? You got so mad at the doctor's office that you ended up yelling at the clerk and storming out. You never even got to see the doctor. Or, you slammed the cover on the laptop because you were frustrated by how slow the internet was working, but now the screen is shattered. Sometimes, talking it through calmly and non-critically can help your veteran loved ones see that their actions are not getting them what they wanted. Then you can talk about what might be more effective. I really got frightened when you started to slam doors and pound your fists on the table. Next time this happens, what do you think we could do differently? Or, I didn't like how you took off in the car when you were so mad. Next time, would you please try taking a walk to cool off instead? You can also try to identify other emotions that may be hidden by the anger. It sounds like you were worried that the doctor wasn't going to see you today to address your pain. In this case, worry might have been hidden by the anger. You may find it helpful to use mediators, like a therapist or a trusted family member, to help you both communicate about and then address the behaviors that often accompany anger. Some do's and don'ts. Do. Name anger when you see it. Having a name helps understand the problem and makes it seem more solvable. Do. Give your family member space to calm down. This is the most effective tool for keeping you and your veterans safe. Do. Wait until they are calm to try to fix the problem. It is hard to solve a problem when anger remains escalated. Do. Set limits for next time. Create a plan to try and change the pattern in the future. Don't. Don't ignore anger. Ignored anger tends to escalate and get worse. Don't reward or encourage yelling. This could make yelling happen more often in the long run. Don't substitute safer expressions of anger, like punching a pillow or screaming at an object. These tend to make anger and aggression worse over time. Try calming activities instead. Don't match their tone or volume. Try to use a calm tone to demonstrate what you want from them. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation. If you have any questions or are in need of some additional resources, please reach out to your local Caregiver Support Coordinator or call the VA National Caregiver Support Line at 1-855-260-3274. Be kind to you and take good care.